Today, we're on the hunt for an elusive creature. It's very skittish, it goes away quickly, so we gotta be careful and sneak up on it. It's a residential house at an affordable price in DFW, and they are becoming harder and harder to find. And people are starting to realize that, especially as they come in from out of state. It's not something you just find on the corner store, it's something you gotta go looking for. But don't worry, we got you covered. We found a couple, and we're gonna walk you through some of the best places where you can still find these hidden treasures. So we're going to show you a few different houses by a few different builders, and actually right now the tours we're going to be taking you through are in the most popular area we've had for people that are moving here from out of state. Now we're going to talk about a lot of different areas, but almost unanimously we've had so many people move from out of state to this area after everything was said and done, and it's for a really good reason. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but here off the entryway we kind of just want to show off these houses a little bit, like what you're going to be getting here. You got a dining room as soon as you walk in, and then one thing to take note while you're looking at these houses, they're all going to be around 2,500 square feet, more or less. And depending on the layout will really change the way it feels, because 2,500 square feet can feel really big or really small depending on how you use it. Now this one did a really good job with the vaulted ceilings, the big high roof line and everything. It makes the living room feel nice and open, especially with this grand fireplace that goes all the way up. So small little things like that can also add to it, but just pay attention because you'll see what I mean in just a bit. But this one's actually a really nice layout because you got the kids' bedrooms over here, masters over there. We'll get to that in a bit as well. So this one's going to be a 4-bed, 3-bath. You got 2 bedrooms here, full bath right here. Now this bedroom is a little smaller because these are like 11 by 11s, 11 by 12s. This one's maybe an 11 by 11, and that's just because it connects to an ensuite bathroom. And that actually connects us to a flex space. So with 2,500 square feet on a 2-story, that may be a little cramped, but on a 1-story, you got a lot of room to play with because it's all flattened out and it goes wider. So with these more expansive floor plans, it gives you a little bit more flexibility to do things like this, where you get maybe a flex space. This could be anything from like a study room, maybe a second office. Some people like to do the theater finish out, but honestly, if you're looking for the most bang for your buck, you're gonna wanna start maybe in Godley. Now, Godley is a great spot to start because Godley and Joshua, maybe just southwest of Burleson, are a little removed, but if you're okay with the country, you will save so much money on your house. If you like it quiet, you like the greenery, you like being away from everything, that's the place to be. And that's why we kind of wanted to start with it, because honestly, it's like an untapped powder keg. Nobody's moved there, but as soon as they do and they realize how great it is, that place is going to be gone before you know it. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on stuff like that, that's why you got to get a hold of us, because I will tell you this right now, Godley's not quite A-rated on niche.com. They're working on it. They're doing a really good job, but with some of these more rural places, it can be difficult to get those higher school ratings, but we stay ahead of that and we keep all that information for you guys. So give us a call if that's something that's important to you guys. But you will see a lot of houses like this in the areas that you're going to. The modern farmhouse is a very popular look in Texas, and I know some people love it, some people hate it. There are other options out there, but these do really well and they're very popular. So you will see quite a few of these as you're going through your buying process. Now, before we get to the master bedroom here, I do want to point out we got a mud bench right here. We also got a garage over here. It is a 3-car garage, which I know is a huge thing for some people. I'm a bit of a motorhead. I've got like 4 cars right now, nowhere to keep them. That'd be great. But you got a laundry room here. We'll touch on that in a bit because it does connect to the master closet. But as we walk in here, you get a really decent sized master bedroom. So this is probably 17 by 16, 17 by 18. It's a really good sized room. They didn't do anything crazy, no tray ceilings. It's just 4 walls and a door. But if you put a king size bed in here, you're not going to be hurting for space or anything like that. It's still plenty of room for your dresser and all your other furniture. And all this connects to your master bathroom. Now, this one's a little bit different. So some people like the galley style master bathroom where it's like a long hallway. You'll see Tom in the mirror there, hey. But this one's more of a square build out, so it gives you a little bit more room to work around. You can see me and Tom can kind of move around without bumping into each other. But his and hers vanity, this is obviously going to be hers, way more space. No joke, but like I think most guys keep like 4 or 5 things on here at absolute most, and one of them's a toothbrush, so you might as well whittle it down to 3. But you got a frameless shower door here. This is a huge piece of glass. Honestly, that is heavy, but that's really nice. You got a tucked away bench in there. They did everything very subtly. You got your water closet over here, his vanity here, and a built-in tub. Nothing is super standout, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's all really good quality. You've got 1-inch granite. You've got like everything that matches. It flows really nicely, which kind of creates like a blank canvas for you guys whenever you want to go ahead and decorate. You're not pigeonholed into one design or another. Laundry room right here. You got a little bit of of folding space, some storage over there, full-size washer and dryer area. And now you'll notice, I want you to, like I said earlier about the square footage thing, you kind of feel it, like some of these rooms are maybe a little bit more cramped than the common area leads you to believe they will be. Don't worry, we've got the solution for you guys in some of these later builds if that's more of what you're looking for. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about what's out back. So hopefully if you're living out in the country, you're not spending all your time indoors, and these lovely huge covered patios make it so much easier to get outside of your house, especially in Texas during the summer. But a little bit more on Godley before we touch on some of these other places. Like if you are looking for variety and options, there's a ton of them in Godley, but I will say it is a bit of a drive. Like I said, you're probably looking at about 30 minutes into downtown, about 10-15 into Joshua if you're living in Godley, but Joshua's just about as rural. And for some people, that's great. For other people, you may want to stick around and check out some of these other options we have for you, because I promise, if you're looking for more amenities, it gets better. But this is the real reason that you move away from the city, is huge back patios where you can host on, like, you know, game day, or maybe just have the buddies over for some drinks in the backyard. And man, what a backyard it is, because your lot actually goes all the way back to where those little pine tree looking things are over there. I doubt it's pine trees. Texas would kill them off like that. But this is 2 acres, and for a 2,500 square foot house, that doesn't eat up anything on the footprint. So you got plenty of room for a garage, a pool, a shop, whatever you want to build out here. And when there's no HOA, no one can stop you anyway. But if you are a little bit curious about what else they have to offer around the DFW area, stick around, because we're going to touch on that next. So, out-of-state buyer survival tip. Whenever you're moving this far away from the city, sometimes utilities may become a little scarce. Electricity is pretty easy to hook up, and you're going to notice in all the houses we look at today, they're going to have electric cooktops. They're not going to have any gas utilities. That doesn't mean you can't get them. I don't want to scare you guys off, because if you do want gas in your house and it doesn't already come with it, you can actually get propane installed. It's not super difficult. They got service companies. We can help you out with the details. Don't worry too much about that. But if you're looking for gas neighborhoods further away from the city, you gotta call us, because those can be difficult to find on your own. If you're trying to be close to Dallas with scenery just like this, you want to go to Rockwall. Now, Rockwall is one of those places that I'm surprised hasn't already been built out. It really is a hidden gem, because it has everything. It's got shopping, a lake, you're close to the downtown area, and you've got relatively affordable housing with tons of land availability as well. So the Rockwall area has become incredibly appealing for families, especially being as close as it is to Dallas, because it's so much more affordable and you can get so much more house for your dollar. And Rockwall is actually comprised of 3 main areas. You got Rockwall itself, you've got Fate, and then you've got Royse City. And most of the expansion's been going out east, but on top of just having great schools, there's also a lot of commerce in that area as well. Huge shopping centers, tons of things to do, and you're right next to the lake, so when it gets hot in Texas, because it'll do that sometimes, you got a nice place to cool off as well. So if you are looking to move to Rockwall, you want to stay in that $500,000 to $600,000 range. You're probably looking at something pre-existing, but don't get me wrong, it's going to be nice. Rockwall as a whole is a newer area. The infrastructure is newer, so you're not going to have anything too old. You're not going to be paying too much for your house. Now, if you are looking for new houses, you go right up the road to Fate, less than 10 minutes up the street, literally, and you're getting yourself a brand new house on a comparable piece of land, so you get all the modern amenities. And if you want to stretch that dollar even further, that's what Royse City is for, a small town that's not going to stay small for much longer, because honestly, that's where all the growth is.
Now, this builder here, I think, put all the money in the right place, because for the price of what you get here on an acre, it's absolutely phenomenal. And we're going to talk about that as we walk in. We're also going to tell you a little bit about Midlothian, Texas. So if you like this feel here where you're out in the wilderness, and then you don't want, you know, to see all your neighbors, kind of like you see behind me now, Midlothian is definitely another great option. Now, that Midlothian's basically in the center of Dallas and Fort Worth on the south side, and you're gonna find stuff like this probably with a few more bells and whistles, but your price point more than likely is going to be a little bit higher than what we're about to show you today. So anyways, let's take a look. We'll talk more about it. All right, so as we come into this house, first of all, I'm going to tell you guys, this is about 2,500 square feet. The house that we're looking after this, is also roughly the same size. But what's crazy is how much more space you have in this house. Even it seems like you have more space. Number one, this has an office here off the get-go. The next house we look at is not going to have that. So just as you're watching, just think about how you use that square footage. So over here, we've got our first bedroom, which is nice to have this away from the rest of the house, and actually really good sized closet over here as well. A lot of times your secondaries kind of get overlooked. not with this builder. And then here we're gonna have our first bathroom as well. So if you got guests coming over, they can utilize this one. And then we'll make our way down the hallway here. Now, if you are looking at Midlothian, there's a lot of pluses. You're still kind of rural. Mansfield's gonna be your closest town there. And so there's gonna be a lot of stuff you need. Healthcare, there's gonna be shopping, all that kind of stuff. And the nice thing about Midlothian is you're gonna be like, there's a highway that takes you right up to Dallas, one to Fort Worth, and then one that'll take you right to the DFW airport. So you're only about 30 to 45 minutes away from all of that kind of stuff. Back here, we've got a 3-car garage, which is great. We've got our sink here, little folding space, washer and dryer goes there. Of course, you've got your mud bench and then a coat closet, oversized coat closet, really. But yeah, so Midlothian, definitely a great place to land. A lot of the stuff that you're gonna find out in Midlothian is actually gonna be probably $600,000 to $700,000 and up. So it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than the stuff that we're looking at today, but it is definitely an option if you want more of that rural type feel. So here's our living room. It's a good size. This is something that if you are looking at these houses kind of out on the outskirts, a lot of times you have you don't always have these big name companies that are building. And so a lot of times the living room space actually gets sacrificed. So this is actually a pretty decent size. You guys will have to compare this to the next house we look at. It's gonna be way different. But as we walk through here, we've got a decent secondary bedroom here and another one here. These are probably, I would say 12 by 12 or 12 and a half by 12 and a half, probably 12 by 12. And that's pretty good. Like a lot of times you get these builders out here and they put all their space everywhere else and you get 10 by 10 bedrooms, right? Which is fine, but like, you know, you're spending $500,000, right? You wanna have decent sized secondaries. And then here's your other bathroom. Now, one of the things I will say, I think this builder put all their money in the right spot. So like, as you look at these bathrooms, you're not gonna see tile that goes all the way up to the ceiling. You're not gonna see like these really thick countertops and things like that. These are all things that down the road, if you wanted to upgrade, you could, but to get into this price point, and I think we're gonna take you through and show you a house that's a little over 3,000 square feet for about the same price. So for what you get out here, it's phenomenal. And then if you look at this kitchen here, it's got everything you need, right? You've got your island here, you've got your sink, obviously farmhouse style sink. Out in the country, I feel like that's a must. And then you have an okay sized pantry, deeper than most, right? So this isn't just your typical corner, it actually goes back a little bit. And then you do have a decent amount of storage. Nothing over the top of this kitchen, but you do have everything you need. And then you've got a nice dining area here with a ton of natural light coming in. So you've got these great big windows going all the way around and also in your living room. So that's also, that's something everybody looks for. One thing I want to point out, this floor here, wood grain tile, very popular out here. They've gone with kind of this tan or taupe grout. In the next house we're going to take a look at, I feel like I'm bashing them now, I'm not at all. But you're gonna see they've got white grout, which if you've got dogs or kids, good luck keeping that clean. So that's one of those things, like it looks great, but then when you think about actually living there, you know, that's one of those things you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know if I wanna deal with that all the time. But decent sized master here, you've got a trade ceiling, which is really nice. And then coming into our master here, again, nice master bathroom, nothing over the top. You got his and her vanity, a lot of extra counter space here to work with, built-in tub, and then you've got a shower here with a small bench seat. I'm a big fan of the bench seat. This one, you know, if baby's, you know, baby got back, she may not fit. Baby got backyard, not fitting on that bench seat, you know what I'm saying? So what is really cool about this house is the shotgun, what I would call a shotgun closet here. Like it goes from all the way over there, down here, ton of storage space, right? So this is something that's always big for a lot of people. Could they have put more shelves in? Yeah, you could have had uppers there. You can always have those put in as well. But this is like I said, for the bones of this thing, like you have 8-foot doors here, right? They've done all of the major things right and still managed to stay in a really good price point. And you're going, Tom, how much is it? Let's head out to the back porch and talk about it. And just to kind of wrap up about Midlothian, so if you are interested in that, it's definitely rural feel. They have good schools out there. So if you've got kids, definitely a good spot to be. There's a lot of healthcare professionals that end up out there, a lot of airline pilots, all that kind of stuff, just because of the proximity. Like as far as bang for the buck, being close to Dallas, being close to the airport in Fort Worth, like it's a fantastic spot to land. Not where we're at today. We're going to tell you here in just a minute, but this house that we're taking you through today is about $550,000. And check out this view. Not bad, right? Now, unfortunately, because of this view and the drop off, you don't have a ton of backyard. They have the exact same house going up, just about to hit the market. So if you're interested, you'll probably have to move fast because it's also got a view, but it's got more of a backyard. So if that's something you want, obviously hit us up, we'll hook you up. But if this is something you're like, hey, you know what, I want the view, I want the privacy, maybe your kids have gone off to college, something like that, and you're like, hey, I don't want a lot of backyards maintenance, but I would love to have that view, this could be the spot for you. But there are more areas that you need to know about. We're going to tell you about another one next. Just to give you guys an idea of the difference, we're going to take you in this house. It's 3,100 square feet. We'll just go real quick, show you kind of the size difference. Now what's crazy is this is roughly the same price as the last house that we looked at. There's your office, way more space in there. You've got a separate dining area right here. And then as we walk into the living space, it's gonna be absolutely massive. So if you're looking for one of the most cost-effective ways, you're like, I don't care, I work from home, I just want a really pretty house with pretty views, doesn't matter where in DFW it is, then you might be interested in Springtown. So Springtown is on the northwest side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And the downside to Springtown, like as far as like rural living goes, like if you just want to be out there with your chickens and not bothered by a bunch of, I think one of their biggest stores is Tractor Supply Co., if that tells you anything, then Springtown might be where you want to land. You're about 45 minutes from Fort Worth. So you're gonna be out there a little ways. They have a really cute downtown area. And so they do all kinds of festivals. So there's a lot of community there, even though it's very rural. And they have decent schools as well. Master bedroom, like this thing is massive. Like when we walked through this the first time, Jack just goes, wow, now that's a master. And not only that, but I gotta show you this. Okay, now if we're talking about shower benches, they did it right here. Baby can have backyard and be good all day long. So this is, if you're gonna do a shower bench, that's the way to do it. But a little bit bigger shower here, a little bit bigger bath. Everything's just bigger on this house, right? So if that's what you're looking for, we got it here as well. And again, the crazy thing, this is roughly the same price as the last house we looked at. Now there is one less bedroom, but that's about it. Anyways, Springtown could be a really good option. But we're gonna show you that last property right now and talk about where we've been running around all day, one of the top places that people land. So let's go check it out.
All right, guys, so where exactly are we? Well, we're in Weatherford, Texas, and right now we're in, honestly, some no-name neighborhood, but the cool thing is there's no HOA. We'll get to the pros and cons of that here in just a bit, but first of all, let's see what they have to offer. So Weatherford may be a bit of a foreign name for a lot of people who are coming in from out of state, but for anyone living in DFW, it's basically a household name because Weatherford is where the West begins, or the horse cutting capital of the world, and it's right next door to Fort Worth. So the reason that's important is because honestly, a lot of the people that we've worked with come into the DFW area that are looking for land and an affordable house end up moving here almost unanimously because you can still get a really nice house for a very reasonable price on a good piece of land. Now this is on an acre of land, and this house at just over 2,100 square feet, or 2,500 square feet, I apologize, is with all these finish outs under $600,000. Actually, everything we've shown you today is under $600,000. And now these are nice houses. I mean, that's not exactly entry-level pricing, but for a well-established family that's looking to maybe expand, get away from everything, this is a pretty good deal. And the best part is no HOA. Now we'll talk about this here real quick while we go through some of the secondary bedrooms this way, but HOAs can be a blessing and a curse. Now, while some people don't like people telling them what to do with their house, understandably, whenever you come out into the country and we could take a look here out the window, you can see not all the houses are going to look the same. There's no curbs on the road. It's very rural, and you may have neighbors that want pitch black steel buildings across the way from you. Some people don't care, some people do, and if that's the case, then you may need to look at somewhere with a little bit more in the way of regulations over how you build and what you build. But if you're okay with that kind of level of freedom with your neighbors, or you're just neighborly enough to be able to go over there and just talk to them if you have a dispute, this is a great way to live, honestly, because you can do anything you want with these houses, and you're gonna get beautiful products, you're gonna get unique products, and you're gonna get the freedom to do things outside of your house as well. So whenever you're living on this much land and you've got the freedom to build, obviously you can do a house, but a lot of people also opt for things like shops, hangars, kids' play structures, maybe sheds for all their gardening equipment, things like that, or gardens as a whole. I know HOAs in a lot of cases may not allow certain things like that. But when you got this much backyard space, hey, you might as well fill it with flowers, tomatoes, whatever you want to grow. By the way, tomatoes are really difficult to grow if you've never done that before. You think it'd be easy? Absolutely not. But if you do happen to grow some up and you want to start some homemade cooking with all the gardening you've been doing, this is a great place to do it. They did the kitchen up phenomenally. I know the wood grain's coming back. It's a bit of a 2000 throwback, but we put a modern twist on it. I think it looks really good. I like the wood finish. Feels very natural, and they did a really good job with this. So everything kind of stands out, and you've noticed already there's a lot of this coloration throughout the house, this light and wood grain color. So everything matches and flows really nicely, especially in the master bathroom. We'll show you that here in a second, but this floor plan is also really unique. So they tucked the pantry away right back here. I kind of want to get y'all's opinion on this. Usually the pantry is like right next to the kitchen. This one's like in a hallway behind it. What do you guys think about that? It's not something we usually see all that often. One other thing we usually don't see is garage doors without deadbolts. So when working with some of the builders out here, some of the regulations may be a little bit different. So you need to make sure you're working with a knowledgeable realtor or somebody who can kind of walk you through some of the build processes or get you good inspectors, because you may walk into a house, not notice something as simple as this, and maybe you're a security nut. You don't want somebody coming in your back door as easily as a latch might let you. But, it's just one more thing to put on your little checklist. And a cool thing about houses out here as well, because this is an extra large back door. It's garage door, 8 feet tall, and it's I want to say 18 feet wide by the looks of it. So a lot of people, whenever they move out here into the country, they do so for things like maybe equestrian stuff, horses, cattle, things like that. And it takes big vehicles to move those kinds of big animals. So if you've got like a dually or a 350 or something like that, you're going to need an extra large door, and you may need to make sure that that's also on your checklist. But off the garage door, we do have your mud bench and a half bath right there for those last minute emergencies coming home. And then the laundry room. Now, I'm a huge fan of the way that they did all this, because this is becoming more and more popular. I'm gonna not stand in front of the window here, but you can see they've got the master closet actually connects into the laundry room. You get a folding area, your sinks for the delicates, figured out what that's finally for. A little bit of overhead storage and a full washer dryer setup over there. But again, this does connect to your master closet, which is a decent size. So you get a bit of his side, her side over here. This is pre-wired for like security. I know it doesn't look all that glamorous or anything, but they got some built-ins for shoes here on the back side. So if you're a sneakerhead or a shoe nut, this may be the way to go. And all of this flows into the master bathroom. We're kind of doing this in reverse, because normally I'd show you the bedroom first, but you got your water closet, his or hers vanity over there, and on the other side of the door to the master bedroom, another his or hers vanity here. And these are really good size too. I don't have a lot of things I put on my counter, but I've just got a little small 20 or 36-inch vanity. It's filling up pretty quickly. So to having this kind of stuff, it's like future proofing, because again, I'm blowing out the camera over here, but it's like future proofing, because as you get older, you're gonna need new medications, new skincare, new hair care, and all these other things that just add up and up and up. And you never prep for that whenever you're moving. You're like, oh, I'm 40 whatever today, so I just need this much space. But whenever you make it to 60, because this ends up becoming your forever home, you're gonna appreciate your past self for thinking ahead. You also got like a glass shower enclosure over here. They did it really nicely with like this semi-natural stone on the niche and the floor pan there. And all of this connects to your master bedroom right here. Now this is a really decent sized master bedroom, because This is probably like a 18 by 16 room here, maybe a little bit bigger. Nice bright sunlight coming in from these windows over here, and they did a tray ceiling. I know a lot of these builders, as you get further and further out, most people are just looking for space. They kind of give up on the architectural frivolities, like, you know, the accents that they build into the house itself. But small touches like that really do add a flair to the place where you're living. But the biggest flair that you're gonna have is the outside, because nobody moves out into the country to stay inside all day. So let's go check out that backyard. So one of my favorite things about Texas is that if you have a nice temperature controlled backyard, the whole year is like summer, because it does get hot, don't get me wrong. Like, I stick my hand down in the sun, I'll burn like a vampire. But over here where you got a nice temperature controlled, like the sun's blocked by this shaded patio, it makes it very comfortable, a very fun place to hang out whenever you're chilling at home. And they give you a ton of space to do it too, because you got enough room for a full living set out here, or maybe like an outdoor dining set. And on top of that, they add in pre-wire and electricity for lighting, as well as a TV setup, because you know you're going to be hosting the boys on game day if you've got a setup like this. Honestly, everyone's going to want to be hanging out at your house because you got all sorts of room for activities. The kids are going to have room for trampolines, slip and slides, maybe a pool, something like that. Tons of room to keep, because honestly, your community is not going to have a ton of amenities. You're going to have to make your own, but that's kind of the beauty of living out in the country, is roughing it a little bit. And honestly, if this is the kind of thing you're looking for, good deals don't last. So you want to get ahead of the curve on that, go ahead, set up a custom search with us. We'll make sure that you know as soon as stuff like this comes onto the market. And if you're interested in seeing more videos of like what you saw today, go ahead and click up here to learn more. And as always, if you're looking to buy or sell, keep calm and call Tom.